Hey folks, so I just watched a Jimmy Dore video. It's about like the gun control and the shootings and stuff. It was called like it was called "Why USA Has Mass Shootings," or no, I guess the actual title is "Texas Shooting Exposes Rot at Core of U.S. Society." But then on the video it says "Why USA Has Mass Shootings." And like, I never expect much from him. Like when it comes to guns, I know he's like a uh, he's worthless at best when it comes to the gun issue. He either just like stays out of it or tries to stay neutral, or he shills for the gun control people. Like he claims he used to be against gun control or he used to be pro guns because people convinced him that we need guns to resist the government. But then he's like, well, but then even the government did all these bad things and people didn't overthrow the government, so now I'm against guns again. Now I'm like pro gun control. Fucking retarded cunt. I mean, I don't know, dude. I'm just no. It's like um if you're for quote unquote gun control, which means you want like just stricter controls on who can have guns besides police, um, then you're fascist. Like, I mean, some of them maybe they say, oh, well, I just want to tweak the laws a little bit. But even just to be pretending that the fact that people have guns is the problem is fascist. Like they're shilling for the fascists and they're paving the way to really completely end gun rights. Because if you blame the guns, even if you say like, well, it's the guns' fault, so we're just gonna make more background checks. But once you establish that it's the gun's fault, then you're basically the logical conclusion is to ban guns. So like, fuck Jimmy. I don't know. Is there anybody on the left like that? Are there any real leftists alive? People who support the people instead of the police. I mean, I know there are like leftists who support gun rights, but like, where are they? I mean, if it's not Jimmy Dore, like who knows? Maybe like Jackson Hinkle hopefully would. But yeah, I don't know. I can't think of like a prominent leftist that like supports gun rights or at least has done so like publicly. You know, they um they killed Fred Hampton, they killed Malcolm X. They were both supporters of the Second Amendment. So anyway, yeah, that's just it. To me, like in my mind, I consider the Republicans better leftists compared to the Democrats because like they're both have like both of them follow a mix of things that were originally considered leftist and a mix of things that were originally considered right wing. Like the Democrats, they still support they still probably ostensibly support some actual leftist stuff, but like, gun rights is a leftist thing. It's very explicit. It's like the most leftist thing there is, basically, because leftism is named after the the French Revolution. There was a national assembly, and it was divided in half. And on the left side were the representatives of the population of the country, and on the right side were the representatives of the king and the bishops and the nobles, like the dukes and earls and shit. And so anybody who's genuinely right wing, like they genuinely don't think that the population has any right of self-government, and they just want the royals and the churches and stuff to control everything, they're evil, they're terrorists, and should be treated as such. But in reality, a lot of the people who call themselves right-wing are at least less right-wing than the Democrats are. And, you know, I think that's part of the thing. It's like, that's why they're always like yelling about the commies, is because they realize that at the end of the day, they're the ones who are closer to communism. They're the ones who are like, you know, that's like they protest too much by always trying to talk about communists and socialists and stuff. But at the end of the day, like, you know, I watch a lot of the stuff they post, and a lot of it is like, you know, give money to veterans instead of immigrants, or give money to, you know, they're totally for social programs. A lot of these people, they're just mad if it goes to like illegal immigrants or something. So, you know, whereas the Democrats will do anything they can to not help anybody. So it may be that even when it comes to socialism, the Republicans might be less right-wing than the Democrats are. I mean, but yeah, that's the point. Leftism means populist. It means the power of the people. You know, is it used in other ways? Yes, by brain-dead people who misuse probably every word they fucking say. If you're going to give them that, if you're going to say, well, I saw some idiot use it in this way, then you're an idiot, you know? You are aware of you fucking, you know, what you support. Like, if you support, like, their definitions, like, if every time somebody misuses a word, you're just like, all right, that's the new definition now, then you're basically a terrorist of language. And that's what's happened, you know, like, I don't care how universal it is. It's not acceptable to pretend that leftism means big government. No, leftism has a meaning, it has an origin. Not the opposite of big government, but they're both branches of government, you know, the left and the right were both sides of the same big government assembly. The only difference is the left side represents the populace, the people. And so that was the side that supported gun rights, obviously. You know, there's no reason a right-winger, a royalist, would support gun rights for poor people, because real right-wingers, actual conservatives, fucking hate poor people. That's the point of conservatism. But that's my point, is that Jimmy Dore is more conservative, more right-wing than the Republicans are. So there you go. I mean, if you say like, oh no, I support power to the people, but I think they should not have any guns and only the government and the rich people's bodyguards should have guns, then, I mean, at the most you could just claim that you like got dropped on your head too many times or had a lobotomy and you didn't know what you're talking about. But like, no, you're not leftist if you don't support gun rights, period. And real leftists will eventually rise up and fucking deal with these scum. Like, in my opinion, anybody who wants to disarm the population is a terrorist, purely and simply. And there's nothing that could be done to such a person that I would pity them in any way, because they are the aggressor. You know, like all these, you know, smug shit libs, you know, like in suburbia, and they're like, oh yes, I'm just gonna vote for this thing to control my fellow Americans. Because, you know, they're pussies. They're not going to enforce these laws. They're going to make some other schlub enforce it. But of course, the police kowtow to the rich. That's well known. So, you know, you would just be leaving all the guns only in the hands of rich people's bodyguards and the police, which are essentially also rich people's bodyguards, and the military and the CIA and the FBI and the NSA and ICE, which supposedly the Democrats hate, and, you know, ATF, all these garbage terrorist groups. So yeah, that's just it. Jimmy's not a leftist, period. Donald Trump is more, well, I wouldn't say Donald Trump is more leftist, because Donald Trump supports gun control too, just like Reagan. But any kind of average Republican who like supports gun rights is more leftist than Jimmy Dore is, or anybody else that shares Jimmy Dore's fascist views on guns. I mean, that's what tells me Jimmy's just a faker on a very real level. Like, he's not real. I mean, most people aren't, right? When it comes to like public persona, or at least a lot of people, they put on a face for whatever reason, you know, to get something. But I mean, it feels sometimes like he's real, you know, like he really cares about these issues, and he really resents tyranny and everything. But if he can then turn around and say like, oh yeah, the government should, the problem is that private citizens have guns. I mean, in this thing, it's not like he did a huge diatribe against guns, but he was just saying, he was posting tweets from Democrats saying, you know, we need to like do more gun control, and we need to get more votes in the Senate or something. And he's saying, don't be a schmuck. He goes, don't be a schmuck. You're a schmuck if you believe that they're going to do that, because they will never do anything for you. They'll only serve the oligarchs. And I'm like, there's, even as stupid as Jimmy claims to always, you know, says that he is, I still cannot believe that anybody can be stupid enough to think that the oligarchs support the Constitution, or support, you know, the Second Amendment, or any fucking part of the Bill of Rights. So it's just nonsense, like transparently stupid garbage that he's spewing at us, because he just figures, you know, it's like he's trying to hold on to some shitlib fans he has, maybe. Because I feel like a lot of what he does is just trying to appeal to his niche audience or whatever. But who knows? Anyway, fuck that shit. Fuck you, Jimmy. You know, fuck you 1,000 times extra for posing as like populist, friend of the working class, but now you're saying like, oh yeah, we need the police to like, you know, we need the government to like just regulate us more. That's the problem. Even when it was the police that fucking made this happen, like that, by keeping anybody from, you know, going in to stop it. I mean, it was in Texas. If the pigs weren't there, somebody would have probably gone in and shot that fucking cunt the first moment. But the pigs fucking stopped them from doing it. I don't know the whole story. There was some mom, I guess, the pigs tried to like detain and like handcuff her, and she broke free and got her kid out. And the pigs were threatening her. So, you know, fuck Jimmy. He's not our comrade. That's it. That's one of the issues that I draw the line at. If you support gun control, you're not a comrade, and you will be in the ditch when the time comes. You know, period. It's like, because if you think somehow you're such a god that you can go and take some men's guns out of their hands, or decide, or tell them, oh no, you can't have that gun because, you know, I know better than you. You got to be prepared for them to give you not the gun, but the bullets, you know, in the fucking head. And I wish that would, anyway. I wish there wasn't so many fucking doormat fucking cucks in this country, and like fascist scum. But like, at the end of the day, I will stand with almost anybody who supports the Bill of Rights. against anybody who opposes it. So even though these Trumpers are all like hollering about communism and socialism, I mean, they're always posting, like I'm on Getter, and in Getter, they're always posting the quote from Marx about like how if anybody ever tries to deprive the working class of guns, kill that person, basically, you know, like stop them by any means necessary, or it says by force if necessary. But there's somebody who had the funny idea at one point, I think years ago, to take that quote and then they just changed the word workers to like citizens, and then they put like Ronald Reagan, so it looks like Reagan said that, even though Reagan hated guns. Like he was exactly like all these worthless Democrats, you know, just like everybody, like all elites hate gun rights, period. I mean, Trump has done some speeches where he supposedly defends gun rights, but he eroded them in his time. Every president, Reagan eroded gun rights. Every single president willingly increases gun control. Because no shit, they're the government. You think they want anybody else to have guns? I just can't wait till all the like anti-gun, you know, like anti-Second Amendment people, till shit really hits the fan, and then they're defenseless, and then people, I mean, I don't have a gun, honestly, like, so I guess I would be defenseless too, but that's just because I'm poor and I can't fucking afford these guns. But I don't know. I still would think it would be funny if all the scum who like are against the Second Amendment or are so obsessed with gun control, if shit hit the fan and they were crying out for like militia dudes and like boogaloo boys to like protect them against like the police or whoever is like rounding us up, and I'm sure they would just get laughed at and just like, you know, bye, enjoy, fucking, you made your bed, fucking die in it. So yeah, I hope karma finds everybody in this fucking universe. But anyway, it's funny. So they put that quote from Karl Marx on Reagan, like a picture of Reagan, so it looks like Reagan said it, and then they tweeted it or posted it or whatever, and it went viral, and like among like conservatives, because they thought it was real, and you know, they want to believe that Reagan was actually supported the Constitution, I guess, because they all fucking voted for him and drooled all over his dick and everything. Fucking scum. But yeah, like Reagan, they're all, you know, like every time I see it posted in Getter, it has like usually like hundreds or thousands of likes and shares and everything. And so I've seen it, like now I keep seeing it more and more because the issue's coming up. And like I've at least seen it like 5 or 6 times or something already. And every time I see it, I'd comment on it, and I'm like I try not to like rub it in because, but I just say like, oh, this is my favorite Karl Marx quote, and then I'm like, yeah, I wish Reagan actually was like this instead of being a gun-grabbing fascist. And you know, and I haven't had any pushback on that. Like